everybody. Welcome to Big Balls Fantasy Football, the show with powerful picks, sexy super fans, and that's really fun. I'm your host, 27-year fantasy veteran Greg Reifstick.
And I'm your co-host, Jenilee, a fantasy football player for 12 years now. And together we are the beauty
and the beast
of fantasy football experts.
So a lot of people ask me, Jenilee, when we are out at the bars, why did you call it Big Balls Fantasy Football? And I decided today to wear the shirt on my chest, which is the inspiration for the team. AC/DC's song, Big Balls. I was at Dodger Stadium last night with my girlfriend, and we got to go to what might be the last AC/DC concert on American soil. What's your knowledge of AC/DC?
I don't have a big knowledge of AC/DC because I wasn't born and I wasn't growing up in the time that they were big. Yeah. I know they're a huge rock group, you know, I know some of their songs, but I don't know a lot of facts about them.
Right. And everybody knows who they are.
I didn't even realize that's where you kind of came up with the name. People always ask me, and I'm like, I don't know, I work with a lot of guys, you know.
Yes,
so.
And a lot of guys like AC/DC, so I decided, you know, since the Bears, which we'll get to in a minute, are sucking really hard, I'm just not going to wear any Bears today because I'm not feeling really proud of them. Speaking of not being very proud, some people are suffering. We are in week 4 of fantasy, and a lot of teams are suffering right now because of the injury bug that's been going on this season.
Oh, for sure. And we know injuries is just a part of football. It happens every single year. But there's a lot of key players going down at the quarterback position.
Yes.
That typically that doesn't happen. So we know that Tony Romo is out for an extended period of time. Now Big Ben went down this week. Jay Cutler has been out. He's probably out this week. I think they already ruled him out. So not that you have Cutler in fantasy, but you know, there are quarterbacks going out left and right as well as other positions. But those QBs are important because a lot of times in fantasy, I know I don't usually draft a backup. Usually I've been lucky enough, knock on wood, to have my quarterback stay healthy, and so I'd rather have more skill positions on my bench. So I do have Big Ben in one league. I'm having to go out and find a replacement for him.
I had him in 2, and now it really we're in a bye week now. So you have the Patriots out, and you have the Titans out, and I'm kind of in a jam. I had to go and give away a player. Thank goodness I had a player off my bench that sucked. I had Ben in the first slot. I had Mariota in the second slot.
Oh,
so I'm sitting there going, what? And I actually picked up somebody that I am probably going to play this week, and I'm going to talk about him in my Beasting Out segment because he's strangely not a gamble, but we'll get to that later.
And there are, just on that note, there are guys out there. This is what I say. If you have very strong skill position players, so you have strong running backs and strong wide receivers, maybe a great tight end that can score you a lot of points, you just need a quarterback that can do enough for you in fantasy. You don't need a quarterback that's necessarily getting you 50 points every game or a top 5 QB. It's great if you have those guys, but if your other positions are strong, you just need your QB to do just enough.
Yeah, we're in week 4. You're looking for a 20 to 25 point quarterback, get you over the hump. And then next week, I'll play Mariota next week, and it won't be a problem. That's what you have to do when you're dealing with bye week on top of, injuries. We're really into the season right now. So what you want to do on top of our picks is go to the blogs that are on our app. That's right. We now have a Big Balls Fantasy Football app.
That's right. Go get it.
That's right. We have Cash on there. He has his sleeper picks for week 4, and I'm backing them 100%, except for one of them, not this week. But then we have Prost over there, and he has his one-hit blunder, which, strangely enough, we disagree again, is one of my picks this week, one of my Beasting Out picks. That's what we love about the blogs. That's what we love about our advice, is you're getting advice from 4 people. Take the favorite person that you have and run with their advice. It's just like on the TV shows. That's why they have 4 or 5 people. You take the advice of the person that you want to win your fantasy.
Yeah, we absolutely don't always agree. We're in different leagues as well as our show leagues. So I think a lot of our advice comes from what we're experiencing in our own leagues.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room. The really, really big elephant in the room. Everybody, it's time for the Bears fire sale. That's right. After last week's really, really horrible loss to the Seahawks in Seattle, after we did pretty darn well in the first half, we're giving away the team. We gave away Jared Allen off to the Panthers. We gave away Bostic off to the Patriots. And who else did we give away today?
We also got rid of Brock Vereen, so he is now gone. They just waived him. They got 2 players, actually, from the Jaguars that are more for special teams guys. I believe these are players that the Jaguars maybe cut. They were free agents. So that they're going to play more so on special teams than on defense. Obviously, our special teams we can talk about is having some issues. So, yeah, the Bears are 0-3, and we both predicted them to start 0-3. You know, we knew that the schedule was very, very tough the first 3 games. I don't know if we're going to end up being 0-4, which is even worse than I thought. I thought, okay, we will win against the Raiders in the 4th game of this season, but this game against the Raiders is not a give me by any means. I'm actually very nervous. The Raiders look better than most people expected them to look, so it's very possible the Bears could be 0-4. Of course, this new regime is coming in, getting rid of players, changing things up. And we knew that was going to happen to a certain point. Maybe some of it's a little shocking. I think the Jared Allen thing, I think that's a great thing for him. He's going to a team that, you know, has a chance to be in the playoffs. He's going to a team that's a 4-3 defense. That's what he does well. He doesn't play in a 3-4 well. So for him personally, I think it's great. For the Bears, you know, I guess we're just going to lean on the draft, maybe some free agency next year, and I think, I don't want to say they're throwing this year away, but I think the coaches and Ryan Pace can already see the trend of what's going to be this year and that they're probably not going to be very good this year. We've been in every game up until the half. I know I only got to watch the first half of the Seahawks game. I had to work. And, you know, the defense is looking like they're gelling better.
It was 6-0.
They're much improved.
It was 6-0 against the Seahawks. I was at the Bears bar, even though it was a national game, and it was the diehards only crew, but we were sitting there having hope. We were all like, wow, we're really taking these guys. And then, of course, special teams, as you said, Lockett comes out right away, boom, right down the field. Go check out that pick on Cash's blog because that's a good one. Lockett, if you don't get points for him on wide receiver, if you get points for run backs on special teams, Lockett is a lock for sure this season. Oh,
for sure. And you know that he's a guy that, you know, I didn't understand why are you kicking to him. It's the thing that used to happen when teams would kick to Hester. And, of course, it benefited us because he played for the Bears. Yes. But back in Hester's heyday, I never understood why are you guys kicking to Hester. And Lockett seems to be, I know it's his first season, but he seems to be a guy that has that similar firepower. And he's a guy you should probably not kick to. So, the Bears, unfortunately, they've been in it every game. They were leading Green Bay at halftime. They were only down by a touchdown against Arizona at halftime. And then only down in Seattle 6 points at halftime, and then it just seems like we come out and we cannot finish. Those 3rd and 4th quarters is where problems start to arise, and, you know, there we are at 0-3.
Yeah, our defense is around the field too long. That's one of the big major factors. And it's and also it's a kind of a case of coaching. We tend to give up on the run in the second half. I don't know why we've been doing this. And speaking of running, there's all kinds of weird rumors going around on the internet that we're trying, as part of the fire sale, to get rid of Matt Forte, which would suck.
Yeah, I will be very, very upset if we get rid of Forte because he still has, I know it's the whole, he's 30 or almost 30 and he's in the last year of his contract, but, you know,
to me, you're putting the team
he's one of the best backs in the league.
To me, you're putting the Bears into the dark ages for about a good 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Because there's no guaranteed backup for him. There isn't. Nobody's been proven. He's the guy that can ground and pound for us, and that's why we were in during the first half.
Yeah,
he was killing it in the Seahawks game. We'd run him, everything was great. We'd run him, everything was great. It seemed like after the Lockett thing, our coaches panicked and went into this pass-happy thing. And, of course, unfortunately, we got exposed, our backup quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I know we don't like Cutler. You know, we talk about him all the time that we hate Cutler. But you'd much rather have Cutler in there than Clausen.
Yep.
You know, it's like you have your starting QB out. You have Alshon on. He's another one that there's some rumors going around about that they might be looking to trade him because he's in the last year of his rookie deal. And the thing, I guess, with Alshon, he's a great playmaker, but he's very injury prone. And so maybe they're looking at it like, okay, well, if you're always injured, you can't be on the field helping our, our team. So maybe that's why they're looking to trade him or get rid of him. I don't know. Things are up in the air. It's all going good for the Bears.
It's a good thing we drafted Kevin White. Great. Okay. Anyway, well, go to our app. You can find us on the Apple Store. You can find us over there on Google Play. You're getting the blogs. You can ask us questions up until game time. You can ask us questions during the week. Everything else is there. What else is on the app?
Oh, it's awesome. You can link straight to all of our social media as well. So you can go straight to our website, bigballsfantasyfootball.com. You can find us on Facebook, of course, Twitter, at BigBallsFball if you want to tweet us, our Instagram. So all of that you can link straight directly from the app on. Again, he said lineup questions, the blogs. You can watch our show, our quick segments if you're just sitting around out and about and you're bored. So,
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of people, and we thank all of you that have signed up already because it's been great. It's been a better turnout than I thought on the app.
And it's free.
Yeah, it's free. It's free. So take advantage of it while it's free. Everybody else is charging you for their app. We're giving you links to everything. We're giving you great advice, and we're giving you free blogs. Take advantage of it because who knows, next season... Anyway, so let's get on with the show. And who's going first this week?
You're going first with your beasting out.
I'm going first. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, Big Balls Fantasy Football here. I'm watching fucking football.
To the right, second down and 10.
On a goddamn cruise ship. This is the life.
He gets tripped up after he wins about 7
Seahawks. Lots of Seahawks fans here on the Crown Princess boat.
And that'll make it 3rd and 3.
Got the volume nice and loud.
I think Clay Matthews was going to try and jump that. They did a little cross route.
Look at that, look at that, look at that. Hey everybody, welcome to week 4 of fantasy. I'm Greg the Beast with the Beasting Out segment. I'm here to give you 2 go hards and 2 go softs for your lineup. The go hards are going to get you the points you need. The go softs, I'd lay off of them. They're not going to get you the points that you expect this week. So my first pick this week, I really hate to go with. I don't like the Raiders. Never liked the Raiders. But Derek Carr over here is fortunately and unfortunately playing my Bears defense, which has been pretty piss poor lately, and I really can't stand recommending to you an Oakland quarterback, but he has been doing well, especially the last 2 weeks, and you really need to go with him, especially because week 2 versus Baltimore, 351 yards, 3 touchdowns. Week 3 versus Cleveland, 314 yards, 2 touchdowns. Got a typo there. We're not perfect. Anyway, the point is he has the hot hand right now. Unfortunately, our defense on the Bears does not have the hot hand right now. And he, I predict, is going to blow up our defense. We unfortunately have given away a few key defensive players in kind of a fire sale that our team is having. And it's just going to be ugly. Bears D has been giving up the 10th most fantasy points to quarterbacks, and I just think it's a sure bet, and I think it's a slam dunk, and it pains me to say so, but you got to play this guy this week. My second go hard for you this week is Devontae Freeman over there on the Falcons. And I know I'm going to get a lot of grief of this from Prost because on the app he's telling you that he is a one-hit blunder. I don't think so. I have been watching Devontae Freeman since preseason, and between him and Tevin Coleman, it's been a battle at running back. So Coleman went down with an injury, and Freeman is really coming on. Week 2, 25 rushing yards, 34 receiving yards, and a touchdown. The receiving yards is really what you need to look at. That's how you know somebody's emerging. Matt Forte is another one that comes out of the backfield, gets a lot of catches. That's your PPR right there. Those are your PPR points coming on. That's how you get points out of Darren Sproles, even though everybody thinks he's kind of weak. I see him also progressing over there on the Eagles, getting you a lot of PPR points. But that's what you have to look at. Week 3, Coleman goes out, 141 rushing yards, 52 receiving yards, almost 200 total yards, and 3 touchdowns up against the Dallas D that was supposed to have a great running D, and he went off. I mean, you need to run the trends. I'm sorry, Prost, but I believe in him, and I think this week when he's playing up against Houston, I just think he's hot. I know Houston has a really hard run defense as well, but you got to go with the trends. So let's go with our Go Softs this week. Over in Beasting Outland, we have Terrance Williams on the Cowboys. And the reason I'm telling you not to play him is even though it's pretty darn tempting, he's playing against the sketchy Saints D. Because you have Dez out, because you have Tony Romo out, the Cowboys are going to go with the run. Randall, as you know, all of you that had Randall in fantasy last week, lost his mind, and that's just the strategy they're going to go with. They did it last season and other seasons when Bryant has had problems and issues. They hit the running game hard. That's why you DeMarco Murray fans knew I'm going to have gold right now. They don't trust Brandon Weeden. He hasn't been doing well. He hasn't been doing well at all. You have Brandon Weeden with 232 yards, no touchdowns. That's not good out of your quarterback. I mean, Williams against Atlanta last week, and they're a pretty piss-poor pass defense. Got 2 targets, no catches. That's bad. I put him in last week, and I thought I was going to get a ton of points, and I got nothing. So Dallas is going with the run. Don't put Terrance Williams in this week. My second Go Soft is Phillip Rivers, who I know we all love putting in, and I know he gets us a lot of points, but he has just been going downhill since the beginning of the season. You have his trend. 56 fantasy points week 1, 36 fantasy points week 2, 30 fantasy points week 3. That's in a PPR league. It's only going to get worse. Week 3 against Minnesota, 246 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 pick. You have him going up against the Browns in week 4, and they have a damn good pass rush. He doesn't have Antonio Gates in there at tight end. He might not have the backup tight end. It's not looking good there. That's usually Phillip Rivers' MO, to go to the tight ends, use his stop gaps. The running game has been over in Chargers land, so I would lay off Phillip Rivers this week. I'd lay off him for a few weeks. Well, if you got to play him, you got to play him. He's one of your top 5 or 6 quarterbacks you should play. I would not expect the points that you would usually get out of him to come up in week 4. So those are my picks for this week. Again, go to our app, check out our blogs, and coming up next is Jenilee's Real Men segment.
Hey everybody, Greg the Beast here at Big Balls Fantasy Football. You talk about fantasy football. This is a fantasy way to watch football here on a Princess Cruise. It's day 2. I'm getting to watch it out on the sun, out on the deck. Look at this, look at this. Beautiful blue sky today. We had rain and crazy wind watching Sunday Night Football. But Monday Night Football, the Colts and the Jets has been great. I'm sitting here in my lounge chair on the deck, You can't beat this. I'll see you guys when I get back.
Jets quarterback.
I need a real man. Have you seen him?
Hey everyone, welcome to week 4 of my Real Men segment. I have my Go Hards and Go Softs for you this week. Last week I told you to play Brandon Marshall and he got you a bunch of points. And I told you to not play Lamar Miller and he did not do so well against that Bills defense. So here we go, it's week 4. You have to remember, bye weeks are starting. The Patriots and the Titans are on a bye week, so you're going to be without Tom Brady. You're going to be without Gronkowski, Edelman, and Titans-wise, you're going to be without Delaney Walker. That's why I'm giving you guys a 2-for-1 on tight ends this week. That's right. So my first Go Hard picks, 2-for-1 tight ends, is Eric Ebron and Charles Clay. Let me talk about Eric Ebron first. He is going against Seattle this week, and I know everyone's saying, oh, it's Seattle in Seattle, and they have the best defense in the league. They actually don't have the best defense in the league, by the way, but he has been targeted 5 or more times in each game. I like that number for a tight end. Tight ends typically are not going to get these 10, 12, 15 target games by any means, but a good solid 5 targets is pretty good. The Seahawks have given up the 7th most fantasy points to tight ends, so if their defense is a little bit weak, it's against tight ends if they're not as good. And they've also given up 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion to tight ends so far in the first 3 weeks. Of course, my Bears did not score any points against them. My Bears were just horrible. I thought Martellus Bennett would have had a better week. I think he would have had a better week if Cutler would have been playing. So Eric Ebron is a guy that you have to get in. Stafford's going to be looking for him. Detroit is now 0-3. They're looking for their first win, and they're playing up there in Seattle. It's going to be a tough day for them, but Stafford's going to have to make something happen, and I think Ebron's going to be his guy. Let me move it on to Mr. Charles Clay. I like this guy. I liked him when he was in Miami. He was good for Miami. And he has had a touchdown in each of his last 2 games. So, of course, you like to see your tight ends getting in the end zone because they don't get a lot of targets. And he's starting to do that for the Buffalo Bills. Now, he plays the Giants this week, and the Giants have given up the 2nd most fantasy points to tight ends. So I expect Tyrod Taylor to be looking for Charles Clay, and he's been targeted more in each game progressively. So, hey, I also like to see that number go up as well. He's producing, so I think they're going to look for him more, target him more. And, of course, the Giants right now are the worst passing defense in the league. So this should be a really good opportunity. It looks like LaShawn McCoy may not play this week. Carlos Williams will take over for him. But this is maybe a good opportunity for Tyrod Taylor to get a little bit more going in the passing game and look for him to try to hit up Charles Clay on a lot of those. I will move it on to my second Go Hard pick for this week. And my second Go Hard pick is Joe Flacco. I know, Wacko Flacco. I'm telling you guys to play him. What is going on in my world right now? But yes, I'm telling you to play him only because of his matchup this week. The Ravens are also 0-3. It's started out to be quite a crazy year in the NFL. But this is why I'm telling you to play him. Sometimes you got to look at the stats. In week 2, he passed for 384 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. In week 3, he passed for 362 yards, 2 touchdowns again, and 1 interception. He's going to throw those interceptions. That's going to happen. Trustman is his offensive coordinator. Trustman loves to throw the ball. It's the same thing. Cutler was throwing picks as well, but Cutler was throwing for a lot of yards, and he's at least getting you those touchdowns. Now, he goes against Pittsburgh in the Thursday night game this week, and the Steelers have given up 6 passing touchdowns in the first 2 weeks, so they did not look good. That secondary is young. I thought they would play a lot better the first week against the Patriots, and you all saw how that went. And let me just say this. Kenny Britt had 102 yards against them last week. Kenny Britt, since when have we had a Kenny Britt sighting? Yeah, he went for over 100 yards against him. So if he's a wide receiver that can go for 100 yards, I think there's another guy that can definitely go for 100 yards, and that's the guy Flacco's going to be throwing to, and that is Steve Smith. Steve Smith has balled out the last 2 weeks. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but he's been great. He went for 150 yards in week 2, and he went for 186 yards in week 3. They don't have much going on over there in Ravenland with their wide receivers, so Steve Smith is going to be the guy that Flacco looks to. I just think with this young secondary, he's going to be able to do it, and Trestman is always dialing up the passing plays. So look for him to have a good night in primetime on Thursday Night Football. Let me move it on to my Go Softs. These are the guys that they might not get you as many points this week, so watch out. My first Go Soft for this week is running back Jeremy Hill of the Bengals. This one hurts my heart because I have him in 2 leagues, and trust me, I'm a little scared. I don't know what to do with him. I'm probably going to take him out this week because I don't like his matchup. Let's just talk about the fact that he does not have a 100-yard game yet this season. I don't like that. It's been 3 weeks. Where are you at, Jeremy? I need 100 yards from you, but I don't think it's going to happen this week. They're going up against Kansas City, and the Chiefs have only given up 94 rushing yards per game, so they haven't even given up 100 rushing yards per game, average that is, and they've given up 0 rushing touchdowns. So again, running backs are not getting in the end zone against this Kansas City defense. And let's talk about the fact that Jeremy Hill has had a very rough last 2 weeks. He fumbled twice, of course, and was benched against San Diego. So that did not turn out to be a good game at all. And then he only had 21 yards on 12 attempts versus the Ravens last week. Gio did a lot better than him. It's looking like they're definitely using Gio Bernard 50% of the time, which doesn't help Hill either. And the coaches have also already stated, because Gio's the passing back, that if they are down in the game, they will roll with Gio. So Hill might not be getting as many touches if for some reason the Bengals are losing. Jeremy Hill just isn't doing what he's supposed to be doing this season, and it's not been good so far. I hope he can get it together, but the Chiefs are going to be tough for him. And my second Go Soft this week is wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald. I know you guys are like, Fitz is back. Why are you telling me not to play him? If you got to play him, you got to play him. He is an elite receiver. I understand that. I just don't expect him to be going as crazy as he has been, and that's because they're playing the Rams. The Rams have only allowed 2 receivers so far this season to go for over 50 yards, and that's not very good. And one of those receivers was Antonio Brown, so we know how good Antonio Brown is. I'm not saying Fitz isn't good. He's awesome, but the Rams' defense is looking pretty good. The Rams are also tied with the most sacks in the league. Their front is awesome. They have 13 sacks in 3 games. That's pretty insane. That is insane numbers, actually. So I think Carson Palmer and this offense, Carson Palmer is going to be under a lot of pressure, which of course makes it harder to make those passes and get your receivers involved in the games. Another reason why I don't think he might go off is he's had 5 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, amazing. I know he's been getting you so many points. But do you think the Rams defense and defensive coordinators haven't seen that happening? They've been watching it. So I think that they're going to put guys all over him to not allow him to do that against them. And I think this might be a low-scoring game. This is a tough divisional matchup. It is in Arizona. But I just think these 2 defenses are playing lights out right now this season for the most part. And so I think that this game isn't going to be super high scoring. I think it's going to be a defensive game. And let's also talk about the fact of the first 3 defenses Fitz and company have been against, because I know his offenses look pretty awesome. But they played against the Saints defense, the Bears defense, and San Francisco's defense. Those are not the best defenses in the league. So it's going to be a little bit tougher this week for him against those Rams. I just don't expect too much. So there you have it. There are my week 4 picks. Of course, go check us out on our social media, bigballsfantasyfootball.com, and get our app so that you can get everything. The app is just amazing. So you just have to go get it. It's free. And that wraps up our show for tonight. Have a great evening.